Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and I am here today to give you the top 5 big changes in Majora's Mask 3D. It was going to be a top 10, but a lot of the changes are graphical or merely aesthetic, and so we thought we'd really trim it down to give you the 5 real sort of big ones, big cream of the crop. So, enough time wasted, let's get straight into it. It may seem trivial, but the small increase in size in Clocktown has made it a much more appealing place to walk around. It feels a lot more real, to be honest. A couple of things have been shifted here and there, and overall the whole place just feels much more like a real town as opposed to sort of a series of shops and places you can go in, a bit like a shopping centre. The area which is most notable, of course, is the south area, where the owl statue has been moved, so it's now directly behind the clock tower, and inside the back of the clock tower you've got the bank, which is where obviously you can store rupees, which will remain even when you go back in time. There's no explanation for that, but it's a very useful feature, so I'm not going to question it. This feeling of expanse is only exaggerated by the near widescreen display of the 3DS, and it just makes the whole thing appear so much larger and so much more inviting and involving, and it just makes it a much more pleasant place to be. Yes, owl statues and saving in general has been changed quite considerably. You no longer have to strike the statues with your sword in order to activate them, you merely have to go up and check them. This of course means that at the start of the game, when you're stuck in the Deku Scrub form, you no longer have to wait until you're human again before you can save permanently, which is quite a big change and quite a big deal, to be honest. This does in turn remove some of the difficulty from the very first part of the game, but I mean, if you've played it before, it's not difficult. If you know what you're doing, you've got bags of time and you're going to be spending a lot of it just sort of waiting around. But for anybody who's not played it before, it's going to be a lot easier for you now. Also, it should be noted you cannot save the game by playing the Song of Time anymore, which is a bit of an interesting choice, I must admit. But then again, with the owl statues now being like more sort of a traditional save point, you don't really need to use the Song of Time because that was really the big permanent save in the original. Also, you got the new feather statues, which function in exactly the same manner as the owl statues, at least from a saving point of view, but they cannot be used as a walk point like the owl statues can. In turn though, there are more of these scattered around, and it's important for that for a portable game, because if you're running low on power, you don't want to be sort of mucking around trying to find somewhere to save, and you certainly don't want to go back in time just to save your game, because you'll lose all of your progress within reason. All of these little details help the game feel a little bit more modern and a little bit up to date compared to the old system. Now personally I think I prefer the older system, but I'm just a stickler for the oldies, to be honest, and considering that it is inarguably an improvement, my opinion doesn't really count for much. Do I even need to explain? It's fishing in Majora's Mask in 3D! Now, I've mentioned this one quite a bit in previous videos, but the C-Stick full camera controls really make Termina come to life. No longer do you have to rely on the automatic camera that plagued the original. I say plagued, that's a bad word. It wasn't bad, it was really good for the time, but by modern standards it's really behind, so to have this full 3D camera control and to be able to see Termina in all the lovely things and all the lovely angles you like is so welcome. Couple this with the new 3DS's super stable 3D, and this Hyrule parallel has never looked prettier. This is something that may have come up because I just had the PAL version when I was just a little nipper, but I've noticed that yes, the game is considerably faster. It may not be something that you notice immediately, but I clocked onto it when I saw that the time seemed to be going more rapidly. It wasn't 1 in-game minute to every real-time second as it was before. I couldn't be absolutely certain without some testing though, so I fired up both versions, and yes indeed it turns out that Majora's Mask 3D, the in-game hours are about 5 to 10 real-time seconds shorter than on the original, at least the PAL copy. At first I thought this might increase the difficulty, you know, giving you a shorter amount of time to do all of the things in, but I also checked Link's running speed and found out that everything seems to run faster. It's not just the time, so I think even though you technically have less time to do stuff, everything you do is faster. So it balances out. All of this helps to make the gameplay absolutely flow like water. It's beautiful and it feels very, very modern. It sort of drags Majora's Mask kicking and screaming into modern times, which you want from a port like this. You know, it's a big scale port, to be honest. This may seem like a fairly insubstantial change, but it really does drag Majora's Mask kicking and screaming into modern gaming. And when it comes to a port like this, that is the thing that you want the most. You want it to feel like it's a game that was made that year, and this little detail makes it. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, why don't you find that subscribe button, wear it on your face and change into an enormous sort of human subscribe button hybrid, if you like. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thanks again for watching, bye bye.